What's going on, everyone? This is Ziffer Chung with Iris Diecast, and for today's video, I'd like to bring you guys my Autoart Lexus GS430. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll probably know that I don't collect all that many expensive models. It's just that I prefer having a variety of cars in my collection rather than having few really nice models. But this one, I just had to pick it up mainly for two reasons. So this is my favorite Lexus sedan. It's not only a car that I've always wanted as a 118 model, but it is also a car that I would very much like to own in real life. And of course, I got a pretty good deal on this one. These things go around 130,000 Korean won in mint condition and a box, which is equivalent to around 120 US dollars. But I got this one without a box and a couple of defects for half the price, which is 65,000 Korean won or around 60 US dollars. And really, at that price point, I thought this car was really worth it. This is the third generation S190 Lexus GS, and it is also the most successful GS of the four generations. Interestingly, Lexus used to have two models for their mid-size E-segment luxury sedan lineup, the ES and the GS. And when I was younger, I really didn't get the difference. And what puzzled me even more was that the cheaper ES was much more roomier. So the ES is a front-wheel drive, comfort-oriented sedan, while the GS is a rear-wheel drive sports sedan. But as you know, the GS is still a Lexus, and it is still pretty plush and quiet for a sports sedan. The ES shares its platform with the popular Camry, so it's basically an upscale, plush, and higher tech Camry, while the GS shares its platform with the Toyota Crown, also known as the Mark X platform, I think, I'm not sure. Um, the reason I felt that the GS was a little bit more cramped, especially in the rear, uh, than the ES is because of the rear wheel drive layout, because front wheel drive cars get a more interior space. Although most E-segment luxury cars are rear-wheel drive, um, and the Lexus GS is discontinued as of now. The midsize lineup is unified into the ES, and I've heard that the future IS will be larger to make up for the absence of the GS. So Autoart has created two S190 GS variants, the GS430 and the GS450H. You can get the GS430, which is this model right here, either in silver or black, and the GS450H is only available in a light blue color. So let's get started with the model itself. Like the Maybach I've reviewed in the last video, this is a model from when Autoart was like really good. There was no cost cutting, no composite material, no ridiculous price, and therefore the quality is really, really good. Um, the headlamp is basically perfect with no pegs whatsoever, and the smaller light is no exception as well. As you can see here, they got all the patterns and the blinkers, they're really nicely made. The grills are open both up here and down there, so you can see through it. I love the Lexus logo here. It's really clean, and part of what makes Autoart cars more expensive is these finishings. It's straight, it's smooth. The differences are really apparent in the smaller parts, like this fog lamp down here. Yes, there is a peg in it, but it fits perfectly. And cheaper cars usually look a little bit odd, like they don't fit perfectly. But you can also feel the subtle differences in the casting quality from it. So cheaper cars have rough holes, but this one is perfectly smooth, and it's nice and clean. It may not seem like much of a difference, but in the end, uh, these are the kind of things that contribute to the look of the car and determine whether the model looks like a real car or a toy. And it's also the small differences that eventually build up and sets these upscale models from the cheaper cars. So the GS comes with a couple of engine options. You can get it in a 3.0 liter V6, a 3.5 liter V6, a 4.3 liter V8, which this model has, which was eventually swapped for a 4.6 liter V8 after the facelift, and a hybrid that uses a 3.5 liter V6. So this particular model, the GS430, it comes with a 4.3 liter V8, and it's probably the engine that was used in the LS430 as well. Um, the V8 option clearly shows that this is a sports sedan, and it sets it apart from the ES, which only has a V6 and a V6 hybrid. The engine detail is fabulous, really. I'm not sure if it is the plastic quality or the paint or both, but the engine creates a much more realistic look. I especially love the Lexus logo crested there. One thing I didn't like was the fact that they used hinges without gas lifts for the hood. So the hood gets loose after some time and it won't stay up like this car after a while. This car is a Millennium grade of the Autoart lineup. So it goes Performance, Millennium, and the top line Signature. And the Signature had those gas lifts, but many Millennium and Performance models didn't back in the late 2000 Autoart cars. I really like the older Lexus with the El Finesse design cue applied to them. Um, I mean, like the earlier Lexus just looked like a traditional Toyota, and the newer ones, well, they're just too much for me. But I especially love the Elf Nessie cars, and in particular this GS and the RX. These smooth lines, smooth yet simple lines, they create a somewhat eloquent and grand look. And again, you can trust Autoart with their casting quality. I mean, look at these lines down here. You can see how they grow fainter as they go to the back. So outdoor castings are really accurate generally. Um, actually, accurately downscaling a car into a model is not as easy as it is said. Oftentimes, model manufacturers alter the proportions or the size or the stance of the car, usually for the sake of manufacturing the model. But as for Autoart cars, their castings are really accurate in terms of size, proportions, basically everything. The rim details are splendid. It's really nice. They used metal for the brake pads. While cheaper cars usually use plastic, it gives a really sweet look. And I think the paint applied to the rims is what really makes this car look these rims look more realistic and nice. Kind of has a soft silver glow to it. It's really nice if you see it in person. The chrome edges on the doors, they're done nicely. Some of the cheaper cars, they don't have these at all, or they're very roughly disconnected when if there's an opening part. But it's done really nicely on this car, which again shows a whole different level of finishing for this car. Uh, Autoart cars have a really nice door opening angle, which enables you to get a good look at the interior. I'm not really sure if making a large opening angle is difficult, but Maisto cars have a really terrible door opening angles, especially for the rear. The interior is nice, but it wasn't really as astonishing for me as the exterior was. You do have carpet materials um, for the floor mats there, but other than that, it was kind of disappointing. So Lexus uses really nice Japanese wood for the trim, but the dark wood trim uh, on the door panels and the steering wheel, it looks uh, it looks too much like it's painted. The dash buttons are okay, I guess. It's not bad. So cheaper cars, they usually just put a white dot on there and hope you think that it was too small to see clearly, or they would not just paint it at all. But they definitely did put some effort there. I'm not sure if you can get it, but there's even um, a number on the clock there. Um, but the air vents above the clock and next to the steering wheel uh, and the overall general plastic quality wasn't really all that satisfying for me. I mean, yeah, or at least to what I'm expecting in an Autoart model. The same goes for the seats. They're okay. I mean, you got some texture details on there, um, but really, it's a plastic seat, and it doesn't really capture the plush, luxurious, and welcoming look of a Lexus leather seats. The car does come with a sunroof, although it is not really functional. The rear is pretty nice. You got heated windows here, and I really like the detail in the back, how they used the soft carpet material and the parts in it. It was really nice. And of course, the lamps, there's nothing to talk about there. It's really well made. I loved how they used emblem parts for the Lexus logo and the naming here instead of just painting it on, and yet make it still thin enough to look real. The exhausts are very well made. Um, it is chrome, but it's not cheap looking nor too shiny. It kind of has a polished look to it. Oh, and as for the defect of this model that I've mentioned, this car is missing one of the exhausts right over here, and the left mirror is glued back, although it really isn't noticeable because the previous owner was a pretty skilled customizer and he did a really clean job on it. And like I mentioned earlier, this car doesn't have a box, but all those defects that I've mentioned don't really matter all that much to me because I just display this car on a shelf. So that's why I bought it. Here is the trunk space. It's kind of too dark to get a view on anything, but there is some really nice fuzzy carpet material down here. It's really soft and cozy. The undercarriage is really well detailed. Most of cars are also very well detailed, but they usually have these cheap, shiny looking chrome for the powertrain down here. But this one, it uses a much more nicer plastic. And one thing I've just noticed, this car has a lot of holes in the undercarriage. I mean, is the real car like that? I mean, personally, I think it kind of looks like a sponge. And that's it. So that concludes my review of the 2018 Autoart Lexus GS430. It was a really nice model and it's definitely worth having. It's also the only model of the S190 GS. I've really enjoyed it. it's not really a fancy car like a Bugatti or a Rolls Royce, but still, nonetheless, it is quite satisfying to own. Um, so anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, please click like and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Tell me what I should be working on in a future video. And then I'll see you guys in a future video. Bye.